Although formal diplomatic relations did not exist, the trade between China and Britain had its own way to survive. This is the Canton system. Qing government was often blamed for its passive foreign trade policy. However, the so-called closed-lock policy 闭关锁国 did not mean cutting off all trade relations. Qing set up four customers to manage the foreign trade. They were in Canton, Fujian, Zhejiang, and Jiangsu. But Western merchants were only allowed to trade under the Canton custom. This was the so-called one-port system, or Canton system called by the Westerns. Let us have a look at the old map of the Canton city. Look at here. Outside of the southwest of the city, along the Pure River, it was the location of the Canton Custom House and foreign factories. This is where the trade happens. This is another painting showing the process of the treaty in Canton. Let us have a look at how the Canton system operated. First, merchants from Britain or other countries who wanted to do business with China came to Macau. Then they asked permission from the Canton custom. Then they went to Canton, live in the foreigner factories. But Western merchants was not allowed to do business with Chinese directly. They needed to find the middleman, a group of Chinese who got the monopoly from the government. They were called Gonghang. You must have heard of the Shisanhang. That's it. And the foreign merchants paid Gonghang for helping them buying Chinese goods. And they got the goods. They must leave Canton, came back to Macau, and then from Macau they departed back to Europe with Chinese goods. The Canton system seemed a good solution for both sides. While Canton system, China government avoided the formal diplomatic relations with Western countries. For British merchants, they could buy Chinese goods at Canton and made great profit by this trade. However, Canton system was not as perfect as it looked like. The Gonghang corruption was very serious. Lacking the official representatives, foreign merchants' behavior was not well regulated, and the merchants also complained the limitation of the trade season and location. And there was still one big problem, the trade deficit. Let us have a look at the cash and cargo flow and Canton system. China exports tea, silk, and porcelain to Western Europe. Chinese tea was very popular in Britain. More and more English families got used to enjoy the afternoon tea as a fashion. According to one investigation, the London workers would like to spend about 5% of their total income on tea. So, British merchants bought quite a lot of tea from China. However, British products was not popular in China. So, British have to pay Chinese tea with the silver they got from its colonies, such as American, Indian. Under this situation, China, rather than the Britain, got the fortune from those colonies. As the silver produced in America declined at the beginning of the 19th century, British found that they did not have enough money to pay China for the tea. British had to provide a kind of product to balance the trade deficit. So, here was the opium. Opium was not new in China. It was used for medical purpose. But by the middle of Qing, people began to use opium as drug, and the consumption of opium increased in China. So British merchants began to grow opium in India and then transport it to China. According to the research by a scholar, Lin Manhong, she listed the amount of the opium imported into China before the Opium War. Let's have a look. At 1804, less than 3,000 chests of opium was imported into China, but the amount grew very quickly. When the British Indian Company lost its monopoly in Chinese trade, more private merchants took part in the opium trade. The opium trade doubled very soon. So, when we put opium in this circle, we found that the situation changed. The demand of opium was so large that China had to pay silver to British. And thanks to opium, Britain could keep buying tea from China. At the same time, they kept the fortune from the colonials. This was a good solution for Britain, but for China, it was not. Opium became a very severe social problem for China. First, opium trade was always illegal in China. The Chinese government could not control the opium trade by the Gonghan system, and they also could not tax the opium. And opium trade caused the outflow of the silver. Silver and copper was used as cash in China, and the stable rate between silver and copper was important. As the silver ran out of China as a result of the opium trade, the balance was broken and disturbed Chinese domestic financial system. More important, the opium as a kind of drug was corrupting Chinese people. The opium from India was easier to get addicted. More and more people were smoking opium now, including government officials, soldiers. In Suzhou City, it was said there were more than 100,000 people smoking opium. The Chinese government had to solve this problem.